And joining us now, Rich Collins. He's the Director of Emergency Services for Sarasota County. Sir, good to see you. I guess you were spared a little bit as well. Big Bend really taking the hit today with Idalia.
We are very, very fortunate. We are dealing with some surge issues, erosion, flooding, damage along our coastal line. But in comparison to what our fellow Floridians in the Big Bend area have faced, we consider ourselves quite blessed.
You know, this storm, as it came on landfall, was a Category 3, and it did look at one point that it was going to be impacting you guys a little bit further south. So unpredictable, these storms. And as you look at some of the damage we're seeing here, the most immediate impact, I think, is the power lines. And we heard from FEMA that there are about 30 to 40,000 linemen out. And I think that that will be comforting to some folks as they hear that there is the resources allocated already, because that's kind of where it's got to start.
You know, Florida obviously has dealt with a lot of hurricanes over the past several years and has a long history of being able to respond. And so the plans that are in place with our partners, the utility companies do an incredible job. In Sarasota County, for example, our fairgrounds is a staging point for hundreds, if not thousands, of linemen as they come in to do repairs. And so that plan works very well. And in fact, on our planning, we have some teams embedded with our folks so that as soon as winds die down, we can go out and they help us move lines out of the way. The utility plan here to help get people back up. Right now, we're at about 8,000 without power in Sarasota County, but the teams are working around the clock to get them back up on power.
Yeah, it seems challenging as well. I mean, as the Director of Emergency Services, there's just such a wide swath of coastline. And I think that was sort of when the forecasters were saying this is a historic storm surge for this particular area. They thought at one point it could be as high as 16 feet. I think it reached 9 feet. And that is something that hasn't, you know, you don't want to mess around with that. That is not survivable. That is why you need to evacuate when you're right there along the coast.
It is absolutely essential to listen to your local governmental emergency managers as they put out those evacuation orders. It is important because the surge from these types of storms can be catastrophic. And what we're seeing, and I know there's been a lot of talk about rapid intensification, but our decision process took a look at a storm and a track that if it moved to the right, everybody looks at that cone and says, well, if I'm in the cone, I'm in danger. That cone just means where the eye is going to potentially make landfall. The impacts can be wide and spread out much further than that, as instanced by Sarasota County, which is a couple hundred miles away, looking at 5 feet of storm surge, roads that are impassable, bridges that we can't get across. So it is absolutely essential. And we're looking at storms that, as they intensify, coming so close. Just 3 days ago, this was going to be a tropical storm, maybe low in Category 1. And here we sit today, Category 4, almost on landfall. It is imperative that citizens listen and pay attention as storms develop and make effective decisions for their family to take safe measures to get out of those evacuation levels when the local emergency managers and governmental officials ask for them to leave.
Rich Collins, very well put. I remember it was just a tropical storm a mere few days ago, and now you see the sheer force of it and the impact. Thank you so much for joining us, sir. We appreciate it, and glad Sarasota has fared somewhat better. But again, keep us updated on some of your efforts, as I know you'll be helping your neighbors to the north.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, Rich Collins from Sarasota County giving us the latest there.